everybody. A little bit of a shorter video today. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that I picked up for 2025, my year in yarn. I am not sponsored at all by the creator of this bullet style journal, but I did want to show you how I customized it to make it work for how I create. I'm going to walk you through how I've customized my journal to kind of work with how I knit and how I create. So the great thing about this is that the cover is like a hard cardboard, but it's covered in fabric, and the texture is great. The words and the graphics are embossed. It has this elastic band that goes around. It kind of keeps everything together, which is nice because I do have loose papers in here. It also has a ribbon to hold your place. So here's mine. So the first thing that I did is I printed out this knitting needle conversion chart. As an American, I have trouble remembering the different sizes between the US size chart and the metric chart. Especially when we're missing a few sizes. Like, we technically don't have a 3mm, so I have to get a European one. So this is nice and handy for me. It's not something that I look at every day, but it's something that I use often enough, especially when I'm starting a new pattern from maybe a designer that I'm not familiar with. So I have colored everything. I kind of took the time over winter break to kind of color everything in. I edited my table of contents to include the pages that I've added. So it is nice that it has a table of contents that you don't have to kind of fuss with it all. So I've been keeping track of the days that I knit or crochet. For me, it's kind of interchangeable. There's some projects that I'm knitting, some that I'm crocheting, and I've kind of colored the top bar to match its corresponding month page. This, I think, is a great idea. I've never really been a big planner or visionary when it comes to how I want to spend my year, but this year I really do want to focus on blankets and sweaters. I want to make my wardrobe more personalized to myself, less fast fashion, and especially now that I found a couple of patterns that I love, and I love to re-knit. This is definitely something that I want to strive to do, is make more blankets to get rid of some big blanket quantities that I have, and make more sweaters for myself, whether that's long sleeve or short sleeve. So anyway, this is our first month. This is really the only month that's filled in, other than I've filled in important dates on every month. And this is kind of how I use it. These are the 3 things that I started the month out with that are started, I should say, this month. So this is a new cast on for me, this blanket here. I had a goal of finishing it this month, but other things have kind of taken priority. This is something that was almost finished that I kind of wanted to just finish. It just needs an extra sleeve. And then this was something that I wanted to finish by my birthday. My birthday's today and it is not finished, but that's okay. I'm not punishing myself for that. I am trying to kind of ride my wave of creativity this year. I did break my foot. So I put that in there, just a little note. Obviously, I'm kind of keeping the color theme that I started with. This is kind of where I've put, this says goals, but for me, it was kind of whips for this month that I want to finish. These are more the goals that I've kind of started. And I do like to keep track of how many skeins I use each month. I have a bigger version of that towards the back that I'll show you. But so far, this is what I completely finished the skeins this month. These are the things that I've been wanting to purchase for my birthday. But my goal this year is to try not to purchase anything that I don't already have a pattern for. So I already have patterns for these 2. I just need to pick up the yarn. This is a little note that I've kind of made for myself. There's a knit along with Knit a Note that started a couple days ago that I'm wanting to kind of participate in. And then this is kind of my habit tracker. My sewing machine, I sold it to pay for a new one. So I have not sewn this month, but it is something that I want to do more of. So I plan to add that in. And then, like I said, I just kind of already colored in the other months. I won't kind of bore you with that. This is great for kind of an end year and then starting the next year. The author of this book does plan to do more in the future, so I'm looking forward to another one next year. But this is really where I kind of customized, I don't want to use that word all the time, but I really kind of made this my own, this listed inventory section. So these works in progress are things that I started off the year already working on, and they've just kind of been set to the side because they weren't something that I was very interested in working on right now. They were things that I could make later or work on kind of in between things, or they're long-term things that I just wasn't in the mood for. So I've just kind of been adding those in there. And then as I finish them, I'll color this section in. This is not my stash inventory. If you've seen any of my past videos, my stash will not fit in this book. It's not something to be proud of necessarily. I'm looking to use a lot of my stash up this year, but these are things that I have in my stash that I've set aside for these specific projects. So I know that these items have already have patterns assigned to them, or for this one right here, I have the yarn I want together. I just need to find a pattern. So that's kind of what I'm using this for, not necessarily for all of my stash, just a way to track the projects that I want to do coming up and then what yarn corresponds with them. This is not necessarily a wish list. This is more a shopping list for me. These are the projects that I want, that I still need more yarn for. And then this is the yarn that I need. And so as sales come up or projects come up or budget comes free for me to use, these are some of the first things that I will purchase because I already have patterns ready for them, and most of the yarn I just need a bit more. This was originally supply inventory. I have too many supplies to fit on this page, and I needed a place to kind of plan out my blankets. So I changed this to kind of my blanket list. K is for knit, C is for crochet, and then these are where the yarn is coming from. Some of these blankets are just ones that I want to make and I don't have a plan for. Maybe I don't have the yarn for, or I do, but I'm not sure that that is the yarn that I necessarily want to use. I'm really bad about writing things in pen and not in pencil. So this is my supply wish list. I'm kind of using one side as a bigger, more expensive wish list, whereas the others are kind of things that I need that I could pick up at my local store versus things that I would ask for like a birthday or Christmas or something that I would kind of splurge on. So that's kind of how I'm keeping those separate. I didn't put anything in here because I have probably, I think, 30 pages of patterns in my Ravelry. And most of them unfortunately, I'm really bad also about printing my patterns out, but I use them over and over again. And then I recycle the pages once they're unusable. I'm not sure how I'm going to use this space yet, but it is here, it is colored, and it is ready to do something. This I'm using exactly like it says, pattern wish list. I've got a little section here. Instead of writing the number of the pattern, I actually wrote the weight of the pattern so that when I do go shopping for a specific yarn for a pattern, I kind of know what I need. Most of the patterns that I have here are around $8 or $9, which is fine with me. I don't have a problem paying a little bit more for a pattern, especially if I'm going to learn something new from it or if it's something that I'm going to repeat over and over again. I didn't add anything in here because usually I start getting ideas for gifts around June. My husband and my son will ask for what they want for Christmas. But I think what I'm actually going to do here is keep track of the items that I knit for charity. So hats and sweaters and mittens. So I think I might actually use this that way. I'll just use 2 different lists and then kind of ignore these sections. This right here, I have added in, this is a blank page. I've added this in as a yarn budget. I want to kind of keep track of how much money I'm spending on yarn. We have a couple trips coming up that I plan to buy yarn on, as well as a couple fiber shows. So I just kind of want to keep track of this year, how much is actually going out. I'm not trying to restrict myself necessarily until I kind of get a baseline. So I just printed off a sheet here and taped it in. There's no completed projects yet. It is only January, but I do have projects that I do plan to complete. I'm kind of using these almost as a work in progress log, and then once they're finished, I'll add them in here. So these are projects that I have started in 2025. So a couple of blankets and a couple of cardigans. This is actually the schematic for this blanket, and when I'm done, I'm planning to color it the colors of the blanket, 23 different colors. That's gonna be fun. And then tape it in when it's done. So that's kind of how I'm using these. These projects I have not started. I've just kind of planned them. I found these printouts at Jimmy Bean's Wool for these project planners. So once I actually start on these, I'll transfer them in here. I've got a second one here for, can you tell I like the Gartrell crew? I'm actually wearing it right now. You can kind of see it. So we'll kind of skip past these. All right, into the notes. I had so much fun coloring in this book. I have not colored in a very long time, and I used to really enjoy it. And this kind of got me back into the love of coloring. So I did test some of the pens to just see how they work. There's a bit of shadowing, but I'm not worried about that. There's no real bleed through. These are the pens that seem to work really well on these pages. The other pens that I use are these Stettler fine tips. I've got a pack of these, and that's what I use for most of the coloring on top of these U-brand felt tips. Or not the U-brand felt tips, the Zebra mild liners. And then I'm using a felt tip marker to kind of fill in wherever I need to. Anyway, I'm babbling. I told you when on my January page I was keeping track of how many skeins I use. I just transfer that over into this section here so that at the end of the year I can kind of see how many skeins left my stash. And on the other side, these are the ones that I purchase, what is coming in the stash. I'm hoping to be at least net neutral, if not net negative by the end of the year, but it's not something that I'm going to really fight with myself over. Knitting and crochet for me, fiber arts it's a hobby and it's something that brings me joy. So I'm not going to really kind of focus on the negative aspect of that. I'm going to try to stay positive about it. These are some other great pens for this book too. This is kind of just like a brain dump area for me. Different colors that I've been thinking of putting together, some other options for some upcoming projects. I like to kind of keep a list running of yarn in the back here that I want to pick up at my local shop. So that's just transferred from the January list onto here, and then I'll just kind of mark it off as I get them. I am looking to destash a lot of my yarn that I'm not in love with anymore. I actually have over in the corner behind my door, I've got a basket already pulled aside of yarn that I'm looking to destash. It's already listed on my Ravelry to sell or trade page, but I'm probably also going to be listing it on eBay, just for, time's sake. But that is that. I haven't done any kind of editing to this page. I don't remember where I got it. Oh, Little Red Window Design. I will link this below. It is a free page. But yes, so I added that in there. We're taking a trip to New York this year, so I kind of added in some of the yarn shops I want to go to. Google Maps doesn't necessarily always work when you're in downtown New York, so I figured I can put this in my bag and just kind of flip through where we need to go for each shop. And I think the last thing I added in here was were these two right here. They came actually on the same page. I will also link that below. Just to keep track of my knitting needles and crochet hooks, because I am often at a local yarn shop or at a show and I'm like, do I actually need a specific size or length of needle? And so the way that I have them stored on my shelf, each container has what's inside of it. I used a photo organizer container, but I don't want to carry that around with me, and I'm really bad about checking my notes on my phone, but I almost always have this book with me. So I'm going to try to fill these in, and then that way I can fill in any gaps that I am missing. Needles that I use often enough that they're in multiple projects that maybe I need a couple extras of them. Anyway, that is how I have customized my yarn journal by Summer Day Crochet. She is all out right now of the 2025 journals. She sold out very quickly, and she even sold out of the kind of prints or the damaged ones. But she is going to be making another one for 2026. Keep a lookout for that on her Instagram page. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you can't, obviously, if you have not gotten this year, keep in mind for next year or make your own. There are great resources out there, but I really hope that you'll shop small and support a great company. Again, not sponsored. I just love this notebook. Like I said, it goes everywhere with me. I'm looking forward to next year's, and I'm looking forward to completing and filling this out, adding more colors and more of my personality to it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. So I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, every new year kind of brings new projects and new goals that, you hope that you can set and reach. I obviously am hoping to reach and meet my goals for this year, and I'm really hoping that this notebook kind of keeps me on track. I have been taking time out of every day to fill in my little task list as I complete my tasks and kind of track those, mark that I've, knitted or crocheted or created something that day. And it's stirred up an old love of coloring. It's been very relaxing to sit down at the end of a long work day and just color a picture or, flip through some of my notes and see what I have planned for the next month or so. So yeah, I hope that you'll join us for our next video. It will not be like this necessarily. Usually I go over my works in progress, my finished objects, anything coming up that I have found in the fiber arts community, acquisitions, announcements, those types of things. So if you are interested in that, come hang out with us next time and make sure that you hit those notifications. Bye!